This is the story of an unknown war. It's being waged in the Southern Ocean, in the fish-rich waters surrounding the Antarctic. Its victims are fish. One of the most important foods on Earth is under threat from pirates. The wreck of the Lena. It was one of a whole fleet of ships that recognized neither fishing quotas nor the law. The Lena now lies on the seabed of Australia, sunk by fisheries authorities. The pirates were after the Patagonian toothfish because for them, its meat is white gold. One single boatload turns the pirates and the men behind them into millionaires. As a result, organized crime is plundering the seas. For fishermen who abide by the law, it's their livelihood at stake. For the Patagonian toothfish, it's the survival of the species. Crimes at the expense of mankind and nature. Eco-crimes. Heading for the Southern Ocean. The Southern Supporter, one of the Australian Fishery Authority's patrol boats. Nobody sails these waters for the fun of it. The following story is not made up. It's based on documentary evidence and eyewitness reports, on interrogations and video records made by the investigating authorities. The ship's destination, Heard Island, halfway between Australia and South Africa, near the Kerguelens. The island and the 200 nautical mile zone around it are Australian territory.
It's in a very remote, difficult part of the world, and it's hard and it's dangerous for officers to work down there. The conditions are such that you could, if you're not careful, you can get killed in that area.
The story begins at the end of 2001. John Davies of the Australian Fisheries Management Authority, AFMA, is here to ensure that fishing boats comply with the law. But there are some boats that are a law unto themselves.
When our industry first went down there and when they arrived in the Australian fishing zone, they discovered there was a significant number of illegal boats.
Dozens, in fact. They're after a fish that has many names: the Patagonian toothfish, mero, Chilean sea bass, or merluza negra. Using lines that are kilometers long and equipped with thousands of hooks, they haul the fish out from depths of up to 4,000 meters. A fully grown toothfish sells for $1,000 and more. For pickings like this, the pirates are prepared to risk everything.
They were attacking Australian waters, particularly around Heard and McDonald Island, and they were taking something like 3 or 4 times the sustainable catch of toothfish.
What's happening here can have only one outcome: the extinction of the Patagonian toothfish, because far more fish are being caught than are being born.
We realized that this was a war. It was a battle for our survival, because as the illegals were coming in, they were stealing not just fish from Australia, but also fish from us as a company.
On board the South Champion, a legal fishing boat from Perth in Australia. They comply with all the regulations laid down by international quota commissions and fishing authorities. There's always a fisheries authority inspector on board. But even so, the fish are ever smaller and younger. The flesh is highly sought after because it's so firm and white and has hardly any bones. The main markets for it are China, Japan, and the USA. The fisheries officers constantly examine the catch, measure how big the fish are. If too many small young fish are caught, the fishermen have to stop fishing. Not so the pirates.
If they continued at the rate they were going, there was going to be no fish left.
Australia intends to make its presence felt. John Davis is on board. He captures on video what takes place on the 20th of December 2001 around Heard Island. The Southern Supporter sights a pirate ship, the Lena. She's trying to flee out of the 200 nautical mile zone, because only within this zone does the patrol boat have any authority.
Fishing vessel Lena, this is Australian Government Fisheries Patrol Vessel, Southern Support, Australian Government Southern Support.
The ship, sailing under the Russian flag, responds in unintelligible, broken English. She denies everything. But John Davis has evidence from the sea, buoys which come from the Lena. The fisheries officer intends to enforce the law and arrest the pirates.
We knew all along, once it was discovered that we didn't have an armed capacity, that we would be challenged.
There's no response to his radio signals, so John Davis sets out for the Lena in a pursuit boat, a risky maneuver. He makes sure everything is being recorded from the Southern Supporter.
The master received a formal written statement from myself saying, I'd like you to now take your boat, or I direct you to take your boat to the port of Fremantle, 4,000 nautical miles away.
The Lena complies, but Davis remains skeptical. During the third night, he makes a discovery. The Lena is trying to destroy the evidence.
During the night, they started to throw the fish over the side. I imagine the purpose for that was they intended to arrive in Fremantle with no fish on board and then make an allegation that we apprehended them for no reason.
The flock of seagulls shows that the catch is going overboard. Even the bait for the fishing lines is floating on the sea. John Davis informs the Lena that he's seen everything.
And at that point, I think they understood that we had put them in a very difficult position, and after that they no longer complied with our directions.
On the 30th of December, another ship appears from nowhere, the Florence. In a reckless maneuver, she refuels the Lena via a fuel line. Davis can do nothing but record what's happening.
Okay, vessel Lena is heading back the way she came. She is no longer responding to radio requests. We have informed...
His own ship doesn't have enough fuel for another chase. Heading for the Fisheries Management Authority in the Australian capital is a man who will help John Davis in the legal battle against the fishing pirates.
Nice to see you.
He's an expert in international law from the Attorney General's office in Canberra.
How are you? Fraser McGeechan.
At international tribunals,